is me, friend Igor.
Мистеру Кролику нужно купить все мои хот-доги. Вы купите мои картофельные угощения.
I wouldn't mind going out like that.
Bunny is creative. He's got a creative spirit. By the way, if anybody wants to interpret his dreams, go ahead and contact us at homeageconversations@gmail.com or at any one of our specialized email addresses. We will be able to forward this very important information to the public. So how about we move on to the next track that becomes relevant, which is Blood on the Bunny. It is a slow-moving, nightmarish affair that kind of pulls you along, at least in the album version. It's very echoey. It seems like it's playing in a distant hallway.
It really it uses a lot of electronic piano sounds.
Yeah, I mean, this is one thing that really shines through about the Bunny Boy album for me, is that it's really potently sad. Beyond being melancholy, I mean, just there is a foreboding air to all of it that something can and will go wrong.
The way that I think about it, it's not the feeling that you get after the tragedy, it's the tragedy itself.
Yeah. And Bunny doesn't seem to be doing so great at this point in the story. You know, he's looking in mirrors a lot, which, if you're inclined to believe that he and Harvey are the same person, is a pretty worthwhile endeavor if he's looking to find his missing brother. And you believe that he and his brother are the same person, then yeah, I guess that looking in mirrors would be a pretty good way to advance one's search. And he's telling us, all the folders that he was showing us in his boxes is full of Armageddon. Were labeled with different things like innocence and rebirth and all that creepy kind of stuff. But he talks to us pretty abruptly in one episode about how he was looking back at the pictures of the Dark Man, and he was reflecting on what Harvey's daughter told him, that he was there, that he should remember. And he takes a closer look at the images of the Dark Man, and he realizes that it was him, and that he forgot. And there's a track about that too, titled "It Was Me."
It was him. It was me. It was him.
This song is so sad.
Yeah.
I mean, the lyrics are really upsetting. He says, "Someone called and I deceived myself, and now I know why." There is a lot of loss and loneliness and pain involved in Bunny's story here, and he, just as much as anybody else, seems to have a need to escape it. I mean, clearly he's got some bitterness and resentment in him about Harvey, but does he want to live in that, or does he want to still look for his brother and have somebody listen to his story? So let's move on to episodes 42 through 48. He says things are starting to look pretty weird. And he's getting, he's going through his, through his emails, and, he's going through his pictures, and he sees this image of the Black Priest. And this might have been a couple episodes ago, but anyhow, he gets an email from a man named Father Acuros, who just has, an impenetrable quantity of swag. And there gets to be a weird little dichotomy, because another person emails him. He is a psychic from Las Vegas named Carson, who says that for a small sum of money, he can help Bunny find his brother Harvey. And he does tell Bunny that, that Harvey is in Patmos.
But it's
That
not in
much he
Greece.
knows. And Father Acuros is agreeing that indeed that his brother Harvey is in Patmos, but he definitely believes that it is in Greece. Which, you know, what the hell? And Bunny is starting to believe it. You know, he's starting to believe, you know, all of the crazy messages of doom that he found in the boxes of Armageddon, you know, written on the newspapers, in some of these folders where his brother Harvey has blacked out all these big swaths of text and found secret messages hiding within. And he wonders, what if it's true?
What if it's true?
What if it's true?
Oh,
It's very
and the rhythm.
frantic.
Yeah, the rhythm of the track is so intense, and my favorite thing, both in the studio and the live version, is when he says, the card says, "It was coming." You know, there's like a combination of voices when he says "it," and it is so intense, and there's something
It's very manic.
It is very manic, but it's also very childish in that, you know, there's this unknown it that is going to spell doom for all of them, but it's something that nobody can quite place, but it's definitely there. I mean, this is sort of the thing with, like, conspiracy theories, right? You know, they never quite know what it is, and they can pin it on a lot of things, but it changes all the time, but there's always something. Something far too dangerous and powerful to truly be recognized or understood, but it has an effect nonetheless. And so a bit of elaboration on what this it is going to do is when Bunny tells us a little bit more about these newspapers and what Harvey's whole deal with them was. And he says that Harvey started seeing secret messages in the newspaper. And of course, it's another track. And this one's weirdly kind of sweet, you know? As much as a track about somebody seeing secret messages in the newspaper foretelling the apocalypse can be sweet.
It's a lot like more, I don't know if cheery, it's kind of cheery sounding. I don't know if cheery's the word to use.
It almost sounds triumphant.
Yeah.
Like he was the one to see it.
He's happy about finding it. And
Yeah, somebody
singing
had to.
too. Even like the singing and stuff is like a little like, it's not as dreary.
Yeah. So I think that's kind of interesting. And with all these secret messages, you know, there's talk of the end of the world and all, and Father Acuros is telling Bunny in these emails that it's crucial that he goes to Greece, you know, because what we find out that Bunny and Harvey were doing in Greece together, they were going into the cave of the apocalypse with a broken mirror, and that you know, Bunny slipped and hit his head, and something I was considering, right, because he had a broken, they were using a broken mirror, was that the broken mirror represents in some way or another the rebirth that was spoken about so intently in the newspapers, or at least on the covers of the newspapers, you know, in the sense that the reflection can bring about a different self and is integral to the recreation of all things, or at least the stopping of the end of things. But you know, just as soon as we're all gathering our theories up, season 1 ends on episode 44. And there's a whole thing where Bunny asked to have his episodes taken down, just take them clean off the internet, and the residents are like, okay, alright. but then they put it back up. And of course, Bunny needs money to, like, you know, go do things. He needs to go to Greece, so the residents are like, hey, we'll take you on tour. Cool. Not cool, apparently. But the videos are all put back up after the tour, and Bunny is very sorry, and he needs money, and so he lets the residents make money off of his videos, and the residents say that he has a sponsor who is willing to pay him for his videos, and he is, you know, really, we never find out quite who or what it was, but he is hopeful that he has been sponsored by Tater Tots. Not any particular producer of Tater Tots, just Tater Tots in general.
I don't know why he didn't just plug his merch.
Well, he didn't have merch at the time.
What a merch
Why didn't he
box.
just ask them to support him on Patreon?
Yeah. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
And support me on Patreon if you
Pioneer
want
his
more
time.
regular logs like
This episode was brought to you by Squarespace. No, not this episode of this podcast. We were not sponsored by Squarespace. We're not sponsored by anyone, but our passion and love for these eyeball toys.
Twitch.tv/Bonnie.
I thought I was told we were sponsored by the concept of Tater Tots, though.
Alright, yeah. Yes, we
The
are.
creator of it is paying
We're
us.
sponsored by our support for each other. And we're sponsored by our love for each other, too, and our friendship, actually.
Hey, we're a happy family, right? So in episode 46, we meet our most important character in the entire series. His name is Igor. He works at the Russian meat store.
Give it up for
and
Igor.
he films
I feel
all of
like-
Bunny's videos like the genius that he is. Give it up for Igor, everybody.
We stand. What a king.
I don't know why, but I just want to say Igor's probably my favorite character in the series. I think he's probably definitely, you know, the most handsome character in the series.
By far.
Handsome and strong.
Очень красив.
We've learned the most about Igor.
Yeah,
I
you
mean,
know,
what
he's
would
a
this
deep
series be without
character.
him? Basically, Igor is the most important person in all of Bunny Boy. This is something that can only truly be understood if you watch the entire series.
He acts as our
And-
eyes.
Yeah. That is all we have to say about Igor. The rest is for you to find out. And in episode 47, he shows us his pictures from the Euro tour. Yay!
They're good
They're
pictures,
really
too.
bizarre, and apparently he hates touring with the residents. They are just the worst. They said they couldn't find any place to wash his costume, so they sprayed it with vodka. I completely believe this, because why would I not?
It's just so like. It's like it doesn't break like the character to be like, oh yeah, the residents, they're not how they are usually are. Then in this case, they're just like these like big douchebags. Like they still keep that really weird aspect to them. It's like, hey, they spread it in vodka. They thought that was gonna clean it.
So yeah, we do realize that Bunny does have, well, maybe not a wife, but there's a lady in his house who desperately needs to talk to him, which is not, you know, it maybe doesn't seem like a great situation for him.
He's terrified.
Yeah, she seems very frightening, and we never see her face. So let's move on to episodes 49 and 55, just keep the pace going here. The way Bunny has started to record, at times does remind me of, like, a teenage girl's vlog. And as much as, there are no words!
He's Trish Pataya.
As much as Igor is a talented filmographer, his approach may be considered a bit avant-garde for people. Avant-garde.
I've never heard the residents.
Avant-garde? I've never even considered the term avant-garde.
Yeah, I know it's
in
hard, but you
any
gotta
kind
keep
of
up because
relation to
Igor
residents
is mixing it
whatsoever.
up at every single turn. And by that I mean he's mixing up my stomach because I'm getting motion sickness
Igor-
from watching some of these.
Guillermo del Toro, watch out. David Lynch, watch
Luca
out. Who else
Guadagnino,
is
watch
directing
out,
these? Jordan
although I don't
Peele,
really
watch
think we're
out.
stepping
He's
on his
coming for you.
territory here. Okay,
Igor.
alright. So, Here's a fun little fact about Father Acuros. As he keeps emailing Bunny, telling him that he needs to save the world, there's an interesting little fact that Acuros means invalid in Greek. Sort of strange. Also, Save the World is a track that is instrumental on Ozark, but it does have lyrics during the live show. And it is like a really, really beautiful, mournful song. But you know, it gets very intense after a certain point, but it does start out very soft and mournful and resigned as the bunny realizes what he has to do, what only he can do.
Embracing darkness like a log, following in heat. Quietly the beast awaits, the morning will eat. And I become some lost and only lump of meat. But I have to go.
Father Acuros tells him that he will need to go with Harvey, and he will need to bring a mirror and a rabbit. And I think my personal theory was that the mirror signifies rebirth, while the rabbit signifies innocence. This doesn't seem to be particularly complicated of a theory. I just thought I should put it out there. And so in episode 50, Hilda is really, she's really making it hard for Bunny to go on his merry way, you know. So anyways, Bunny, in facing all of his financial insecurities, decides to sell some items on eBay. A lot of items from his room, and this is where a track comes in, which I thought this was so interesting. There's a track about this on the on Ozark, titled "Memories for Sale," and Bunny is selling a lot of sentimental stuff. I know that the silver helmet was sold, that him and Harvey used to play games with, games that involved just hitting each other on the head with a stick while the other was wearing the helmet, clock covered in... Yeah, they did that when they were mad at each other, which, like, shout out to conflict resolution skills. They sold a clock covered in buttons. They also sold the 2 clown paintings, which I know currently belong to Dr. Kim Andrews, I think. Well, Kimba, because I saw them on his wall in the Theory of Obscurity documentary, because I'm like that. I also know they sold a lot of other precious stuff, like a Trader Joe's milk carton and he did pay, indeed, $40-something for it. So off all this sad stuff, so basically he sells a bunch of stuff on eBay, but moving on to episodes 56 through 66, it turns out he really didn't make all that much.
He made $1 million!
And then
No,
Cryptic
less than
took
50.
their cut. Well, he made some money, and then Cryptic got their percentage.
Which was most of it.
Yeah, and the worst part about that, too, is that I don't think they were involved in the sale of that, were they? Or was that...
Not really.
Yeah, exactly.
So he's really, really, really upset, and he's not feeling so good. He tells us that he's been real sick lately, and he's been having these weird fever dreams.
Ever
What
had a
kind
fever
of
dream?
fever dreams?
A real
Ones where
bad
you-
Turn
fever
into
dream.
a ping pong?
Ping pong ball, a jet black
Yeah.
ping pong ball.
So, I feel like the song that matches up with that part of the story, called Fever Dream. the description of the fever dream, at least from my experience of fever dreams, is pretty accurate because they're very weird, but they're a very specific kind of weird. Or am I just crazy?
I guess you could say they have their ups and downs.
And so, you know, Bunny is so lucky as to get kicked out of the house by Hilda, who is probably really a secret agent from the Crypto Corporation, because she kicks him out of the house because she is not getting any, as she calls it, child support, whatever that's supposed to mean. And so Hilda drops off his mail, and he's going through it, and he's so frustrated, but then he realizes, holy mother of God, wham! His disability checks are in there. And, you know, he starts doing his good old little dance, his disability check dance, through the Bunny Boy comic for more information on how to do that.
I just want to say that the disability check dance, I'm honestly surprised that didn't sweep across the nation. I mean, I think it kind of just, as a novelty dance, just obliterates anything else, you know, the twist.
Fortnite dance what?
You know, the Fortnite dance, the time warp, all of those are just garbage compared to the disability check dance.
Tomorrow is not another day. And so with the money he gets from his disability checks combined, he can afford to go to Arkansas, because that's what Carson ended up eventually telling him, that that Harvey was in Patmos, but wasn't Patmos in Greece. No. He's in Patmos, Arkansas.
The priest was lying.
What the heck?
Well, he contacts the priest about this. He's like, what is going on here, you know?
What the heck is going on here? Everything's upside down.
What the heck? Yeah, and so Father Acuros ends up saying, well, you know, that could be it. But it's in Patmos anyways. And so there's only one thing left to do, and that's to take the trip to Patmos, Arkansas. But on the way there, you know, of course, what is this story without any hips and hi's and hitches and sillinesses found within.
The trip has its ups and downs.
It's not about the destination, it's about the journey.
Yeah, he has to pass through the weirdest little motel for $6 a night, which is actually really, really, really affordable. I don't know why he's complaining.
And by the way, to get to Patmos, Arkansas, or at least Hope, Arkansas, where he stays in the motel, he has to ride a Greyhound bus. And the episode where he is at the Greyhound bus station is really just anxiety, the episode.
Yes.
It is exactly how it feels to be in a Greyhound bus station. So if you've ever been wondering what it feels like to be completely lost at all times within a place, and also under a time constraint, just go ahead and watch those. Don't bother buying a ticket.
I mean, it's honestly, I feel like everyone can kind of relate to that, like, episode. If you've ever had to, you know, go on, like, a train you've never been on, or any sort of public transit you've never been on, or just gone inside of a building that you have no idea where you're going, you kind of feel that anxiety, and that episode just
really encapsulates
it. Yeah, perfectly. It's a nightmare, that episode, but it's an accurate.
Would you perhaps say that it's like a fever dream?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, sorry, that was a bit of a stretch. So, on his way to Patmos, he has to go stay with his cousin Lulu. And with him, he has brought a bunny and a mirror. And he has a bit of a hard time explaining all of this to cousin Lulu, who lives in Hope, Arkansas. But she drives him to Patmos nonetheless. And they end up at a chicken farm, which is apparently where the beast that they have to go fight to save the world is located. you know, maybe this is not available too. I refuse to
thought-
elaborate.
I always please cut this comment out. I always thought Not Available 2 was Emotion by Carly Rae Jepsen.
And so, Bunny, this is where it starts to get weird. I mean,
Wait, what?
Starts. It just starts.
just starts. It wasn't weird before because
But
we're
Bunny
like,
noted
well,
it was weird before.
Yeah. Because if he does successfully fight the beast, I mean, that'd be the only condition under which we'd be seeing this footage, right? But who really knows? And so he goes in, and he drops his flashlight when he's in there, and he has a bit of an existential crisis while his flashlight is off, and he considers giving up right then and there. But, we're all rooting for him, and in a way, I think he knows that. And when his flashlight...
We were rooting for you. We were all rooting for you.
And he heard us. He heard us say that. Because we're Tyra. We're Tyra Banks.
We're all Tyra. We are all Tyra.
We are all Tyra. Say it together, kids. We are
We
all
are all. What the hell, you
Tyra.
guys?
We're all tired.
Okay. So, he hears us, and obviously he knows that we're right, and so his flashlight comes back on, and then he goes to fight the beast and all. And it's a pretty strange segment. I mean, almost immediately his camera goes haywire, and there's a lot of screaming, and there's a lot of nonsense going on. But
It makes
Well-
0 sense.
well, it does. It actually does make sense if you have access to a little thing known as the script. Now, this may not be common knowledge, and I was really curious about this for a long time. But there's a track on Arkansas entitled "My Brother's Skin," and I thought, well, that's weird. What's the deal with that? But in looking at the script, it turns out that that's something Bunny is talking about. He sees this glowing figure emerge, from this ball of light, and that figure ends up being the shape of his brother's skin. And when you have this in mind when you're watching the last episodes, you can kind of see it, that's what's happening, and they come together as one, and they seem to defeat the beast, though now, as of yesterday, April 20th, 2019.
Yesterday, as if we're recording us.
Yeah.
Recording this. As of yesterday, 420 plays it.
I don't know why you would make such an obscene comment on our Christian podcast.
Yeah, which
I'm
we're
sorry.
recording,
I am a
by the way,
baby.
on the Lord's
I'm
Day.
sorry.
Jesus comes back, and this
Guys,
is the
after
first
I'm
thing
done
you
with
have to
this-
say to him.
I'm sorry. When we're done with the podcast, I'll give myself 40 lashes with the cat o' nine tails I keep in my dresser.
You're a nun now.
I'm a nun now.
She's a
I
nun.
realize the implications of keeping a cat o' nine tails in my dresser now that I say it. No.
Yes.
No, that's all I have to say about that. No.
Randy would approve.
No.
They're just
So, and really that's all we know, the video cuts out, and we believe that he's defeated the beast, but, that's episode 65. There's one more episode 66, which really tells us everything we need to know, I think. It is truly the most beautiful conclusion to the most beautiful series in the history of mankind.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
It certainly rivals and exceeds The Sopranos, really.
yeah. Yeah. That's just one you're gonna have to check out on your own. Because we wouldn't spoil the end of the series like that.
yeah.
So, overall thoughts, you guys?
Speaking of,
I think the Bunny Boy was one of the first Residence projects that I really felt myself get curious about because it's such a complex story that emphasizes, I think, another core aspect of the Residents and their discography, their whole body of work. This theme that they like to focus on, which is like need, the need we have for other people, the need we have to have our stories heard, and the fact that it doesn't really matter whether or not this endeavor of his is based in truth or fact, because what it ends up being is that everybody believes in him. Everybody is rooting for him because even though it may not be true or may not be real, it's real enough to us because it's real enough to him and we care about him. And this is something that really important about the Residents is that though they may be anonymous, they don't hate their fans. In fact, this is, I think, one of the first major instances of them reaching out and, letting us know that somebody within their world needs us just as much as we need them.
I think this is another example of how the Residents at their core are storytellers, like more than anything else. I think the best word to describe them, even technically, I suppose in the most technical of terms, you'd use multimedia art collective, avant-garde musicians or performance artists. But I think you could all boil all that down to storytellers.
Yeah, and I think their use of new technology, it's not just for the hell of it at times. I think with things like this, what they're exploring is, the new technology as a way of communicating, and the ways that the Residents themselves do not exist in a vacuum. They're trying out new ways of existing in the face of new technology.
Mm-hmm. All the time, ever since the conception of the Residents.
Yeah.
So the thing, after I finally finished watching the series for the first time, I just was kind of blown away about how emotionally attached I ended up getting to the character of Bunny and just his sort of journey.
Absolutely.
The DVD release of the series is called "Is Anyone Out There?" Or anybody, whatever. But the text on the DVD case says the sweet, sad saga of the Bunny Boy, and I think that's a perfect way to describe it because it's very sweet, but also really just depressing too at the same time.
Yeah. And bittersweet's not the term, because usually when someone's describing something like that, you'd use bittersweet, but that's not quite it.
Yeah, because there is just this pure sweetness in there, and there's also
there you go, there you have it with his wanting to believe and wanting to help his Nigerian prince friend. He's sweet, he's pure, he's innocent. We want to see him succeed because, I don't know, you want that innocence to persevere in the world. You know what I mean?
One aspect of the sort of connections between the album and the web series is that the album's out of order, so you don't get spoiled about the overall structure of the narrative. But I think what that ultimately kind of does is, because it's out of order and you don't really know what to expect, if you just listen to the album and then watch the series, as those sort of familiar narrative threads appear in the actual series, it sort of makes you feel a bit crazy. Because as I was watching the series, I'd go back to the album and try to find the song that sort of related to the episode, and I'd go through the lyrics, and I felt like I was basically Harvey / Roger going through the newspaper and finding secret messages in there. But I was doing it with the album and the series.
It invokes the imagery of, standing in front of a board with all the pins and the red string.
It really does. I feel like you kind of have to do that to understand the complexity of the project as a whole.
Like, it's a lot to jump into, and even if I feel like you've listened to this and for whatever reason haven't listened to the Bunny Boy, and you're like, well, now I know everything, you don't, and you need to check out the album and the web series and the comic and the everything else.
For listeners, you may not have heard all of the tracks mentioned, like the Black Behind and I Like Black. I don't know why that is.
They're just good tracks.
They're good. Yeah, they're good songs. They're not really part of the narrative. They're just good.
In terms of news, Dying Dog is now available pre-order from Psychophon Records starting on the 31st of August at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time and will be released officially on September 28th, 2019.
That's very exciting. I was going to say
You
something.
sound super excited for it.
It's gonna be sold out for the release date.
Yeah, it's probably going to be sold out by the time this... Well, actually, I don't know.
Can one sell out of a pre-order?
Yes, because there's a limited quantity.
Right, I forgot about that until
There's
I
like
started saying that.
Normal ones, 100 white ones, and like 100
150
multicolored
black and
ones.
100 of both the white set and the multicolor set.
Oh, so
The multi.
they're being racism now, I guess.
I don't know whether to get the black one or the white one. I feel like someone should tell me.
Where's the album?
Ooh, yeah, okay.
The multicolored one looks really cool because it looks like it's like a bunch of different singles that they're all just packaged together.
Well, because the thing is they all have different labels, so it looks cool. But I'm probably gonna get the black because it looks original. Actually, no, wait. I'm gonna get the white one because it looks very cool, or the multicolored one. Nobody buy the black one because it really needs to not sell out.
Yeah, super. Don't get that version, everybody. Get the other two versions.
I might get the white one so my man's world
'Cause you're
record has a buddy.
racist.
No, it's because Alvin Snow was albino.
Not that you could
Oh.
tell. We're just slipping in the Residence references today. Okay.
Yeah.
Why would you ever reference the Residence on Residence?
Well, just
Anyway, coming out
Residence.
from Cherry Red recently was the God in Three Persons Preserved Edition, which consists of 3 discs. What that has to do with anything. Also, talking of God in Three Persons, there's an upcoming God in Three Persons show at the Lab in San Francisco, California. San Francisco. Unfortunately, all the tickets for that sold out from a Kickstarter run by the Lab, the venue in which they're playing, a couple months back. So, you wanted to go. It's too bad. And also from Cherry Red Records, there has been an announcement that Not Available does have a preserved edition, and it will be coming out, but we don't have dates on that yet.
not that it matters because it must never be listened to.
What album is that?
I don't know.
I don't know. It's not available.
What?
Title's not available.
I completely forgot what we were talking about. Anyway, speaking of sales and things that are for sale, the Residents sold out of Brick Eaters and music to listen to bricks to, so great job, everybody.
But yeah, it's fun because now everyone can finish the book and yeah,
And be like, oh my god, I can't believe that
that thing happens.
that thing happens.
Yeah.
Oh my
Um,
god.
Oh.
He did that thing and then that.
Exactly. Isn't it kind of weird? Isn't it kind of weird that like we recorded this episode 5, and yet we're recording news from August 2019? Whatever.
Huh?
That concludes our Bunny Boy episode, so feel free to join us for our next episode, which will be about the 13th anniversary show.
Ooh.
Thanks
I'll
to the
see you
Cripple
there.
and the Residents.
Hi, I'm Rabbit.
Hi, I'm Mole.
Hi, I'm Kat.
And I'm Mew.
Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Tumblr,
And Twitter like crazy.
join us next time for the 13th anniversary show, maybe. And remember, We're not crazy.
You're crazy.